What is up, everybody? My name is Matt, often called Big Nerdy. Together with you, we are the NWO, the Nerd World Order, and this is Nerdzoic. You guys seem to love the behind-the-scenes videos looking at like the day-to-day of the toy store, the good, the bad, the ugly, and today we're going to talk about our biggest mistakes. You know what they say, you can't make a cake without cracking a few eggs, and in business that seems to be the case as well. Now I strongly believe that setbacks only make you stronger, but that's only if you learn from them. So you might even call this video a lessons learned list, which is surprisingly hard to say. So mistake number one is carrying product that you just can't make money on. So this is going to be the McFarlanes, Mattels of the world, Super 7, Bandai, and honestly, I'll probably talk more about those in a future video, why you can't make money on them, because the reasons are a little bit varied, but I spent so much time in the beginning just being like, I need to get everything, and I was carrying things where I just couldn't make any money on it. Or even worse, I was almost guaranteed to lose money on it. Now it's funny, I might make this mistake again in the very near future, because as we grow, I have so many like hardcore collector customers that I might need to add these back to the store, or in the case of Super 7, bring them in for the first time so that people can have like a one-stop shop to get all their figures at. Nerdzoic. Branding. Another piece of this mistake is that I would often early on carry product that I just didn't like. And what I've learned is that if I don't like it, odds are my core audience isn't gonna like it either. And the greatest example of this is Funko Pops. I sunk and lost so much money on Funko Pops, it's messed up. In order to liquidate the last of my stock, I actually just bought it myself and donated it to Toys R Tots because it wasn't ever gonna sell even at half off. I'll kind of put wrestling figures in here too, even though honestly, this might surprise you, but WWE figures are one of my 2 or 3 top favorite things to collect personally, but carrying them in the store was a disaster because my audience does not watch wrestling apparently. At the very least, they don't collect the figures. And I should have known this because anytime I make wrestling content on the channel, it does terribly. So the lesson learned here is that venturing out must be done very carefully. My second mistake, we're just gonna call it ordering fails, put it under one umbrella here. And there's been a lot of these. And honestly, it's funny because I think that this is my strength and our strength as a company is my knowledge in going in and ordering and not too much, not too little, etc. But that doesn't mean I haven't made a ton of mistakes. But here are some of the biggest ones. First off, underordering. I have been a serial underorderer of NECA and 4 Horsemen for a very long time, and I just recently got it right. NECA probably thinks I'm crazy because I went from like, I'll take 4 cases of each thing to I'll take 20 cases of each thing like overnight. Same thing goes with 4 Horsemen. I've pretty much 4x my order size in the last like 5 months alone. And I'm still too small on 4 Horsemen orders. Like I just can't seem to get those right. Those are kind of happy mistakes in that sure, they cost me money. It was only a cost of opportunity cost. Then there is the one-off ordering mistakes where I just made a boo-boo. So first off, the Marvel Legends Ghost Rider, when they came in stock at my one distributor, I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably use a few more cases. So I ordered 32 figures. I thought I ordered 32 figures. That is, I actually ordered 32 cases. And this isn't just like my initial delivery. This was my final where I'm like, yeah, let's add a couple more cases to the end. Luckily, that mistake had a happy ending because those are all long gone. They all sold to my surprise. I thought I was going to end up with Ghost Riders till the end of eternity, but surprisingly, no. Speaking of figures I'll have till the end of eternity would be the Black Panther Legacy Kitty figure. Alright, so hear me out. I thought that when I bought this, I was buying the Black Series Legacy Collection figure. And I'm like, oh wow, this is a great Marvel Legends at a discount, only $9? Sure, yeah, give me, I don't know, give me 32 of them. Oh boy, I didn't buy that. I bought the little kitty version. I can't even sell it for less than what I paid for it, so this is what we call a loss. Speaking of losses, the Throne Room Deluxe Black Series Boba Fett figure. I went haywire on this. I ordered like a couple hundred of these things thinking, oh man, another deluxe Boba Fett? Everybody's gonna want this. And it was really popular. But apparently Hasbro also got the memo that it was gonna be really popular and they printed the hell out of these things. They are everywhere. I have 50 of them still to sell. Last I looked, they were on sale on Amazon for like 12 bucks. So I'm stuck with Throne Room Boba Fett. So I guess you guys know what's gonna be in a mystery box one of these days. Mistake number 3 is having a system for managing figure condition. Now initially when we started it up, we didn't even check each figure. Like, we just were like, yeah, I'm sure most of the things are going to be mint, and if we get anything near mint, we'll sell them on eBay. Yeah, that didn't work out. Eventually, very soon in, we had to create a 3-tier system of minty fresh, near mint, banged up, and we had to get into the habit of checking everything as soon as it came in. And let me tell you, it's a lot harder to check this than you can imagine. You know, you're used to, as a collector, going into a store, if you're a mint in box collector, and just being like, all right, looks good, cool. And you never usually get home and say, hey, I missed this. But when you check 100 of the same thing over and over and over again, your eyes just start playing tricks on you. I also didn't really want to just be like the copy of Big Bad Toy Store and do their tier system, so I changed it up a little bit. Like, we don't charge more for gem mint, and the main reason for this is I almost never see gem mint figures. It's a whole market I don't really want to get into because it's so subjective. That's why when someone asks for gem mint, I'll be like, here is some pictures of the one that I think is gem mint, you tell me. People will get back to me and some of them will be like, well, of course that's gem mint. Other ones will be like, that looks terrible. How did you not see this, this, and this? And even going back, I won't even see it. So yeah, condition checks are kind of a pain in the butt, but it's an important part of our business. So we had to create a system, and we have a pretty good one now where we check everything when it comes in. It gets graded either minty fresh, which is our standard grade, near mint, or banged up. Mistake number 4 was our inefficient and stupid shipping processes. Our shipping processes have changed a ton over time. Now, the way we pack hasn't really changed all that much in that we still make sure everything's packed super well and take our time with it. However, what we learned early on was that our systems meant like each order takes 10 or 15 minutes. And it was impossible to train other people, let alone just making sure that we are consistent ourselves. So over time, we created systems and we changed our processes to what they are today. And we've been using these processes for a little bit over a year now. Some of the things that we learned early on to cut out was we used to stamp all the boxes with a fragile stamp. It's kind of funny. Our USPS guy, Larry, shout out Larry, he was like, hey, you guys might not want to do that because people at distribution plants, when they get all this stuff in and sort it, when they see fragile, it's like a sign that says, kick me. It's just interesting. But yeah, no more fragile stickers or stamps anymore. Another thing I did early on was I tried to limit box sizes. I had a box for single figures, a box for 3 to 4, and a box for everything else. That was not smart. I think we're up to like 24 different box sizes because Mrs. Nerdy is insane and wants to have a size for pretty much everything. That's a good thing. You know, having a good box size means that the figure's going to be in there correctly and that it's going to be tight, which means it's going to arrive safely. So I'll let her have her 27,000 box sizes. I'm okay with that. We also made the mistake early on of picking to order. So it's like, hey, here's 30 orders to pack. Okay, this order has a Black Series and a Legends. Let's go get it. Walk over there, go get it, bring it back to the shipping table. Way too much time. Now we use order picking bins, which I learned from working in warehouses. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. These are the same bins I used at my last job. So now with these bins, we just go, we print our packing slips, and we go pick all the orders at once. That way, when you're shipping, you're not wasting steps. You're standing right there, your orders are right here, you go boom, 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 done, go to the next one. And we've got it down to a process where we can pick and pack about 13 to 14 orders an hour per shipper. We keep working on improving that number because it improves our efficiency and means that we can grow faster. Another part of that is our shipping tables over time have changed so much. We started off, I kid you not, with a plastic Sam's Club folding table. From there, we moved to a ghetto makeshift restaurant shelf with a piece of wood on it that I called a shipping table. Finally, our 3.0 setup, which we have now, I think I paid like $1,000 for this thing shipping table. Now this thing's a beast. Our problem now is that we probably are almost at the point where we need to have a second shipper, whether it's me shipping with Anna or we hire an employee, and we don't have room for another table. Space used to be a bigger issue though, because we used to buy our bubble wrap and air pillows already done. Could not fit in the front door. It came in 8 feet tall and 5 foot wide bins. And it wasn't heavy like you'd expect something that big to be. It was just bulky. I had to get rolled into the garage because I couldn't get it in any other way. Then you had to pull it apart and take each roll down, and it was a pain in the butt. The air pillows came in trash bags. We'd have 15, 20 trash bags at any time in our garage full of air pillows. Larry the mailman was ready to kill us because he had to deliver these things, but you couldn't deliver more than like 2 at a time because it took up the entire mail truck, and honestly, they were expensive. We were paying to have air shipped. I don't know why it took me so long, but we eventually switched to an air pillow machine. And Anna blows up her pillows each day along with her bubble wrap. So now, super easy, not as expensive, things still get there safe. I am always looking for ways to cut down the cost of shipping though, so that I can pass it on to the customers. One of the ways I was doing this early on was by offering what I called eco-friendly shipping, where I would reuse boxes and use like random stuff to fill them with. And I would tell people that, hey, this is for you guys who are openers, it's perfect for you. Yeah, it didn't last long. Like I was using reused Amazon boxes. I was using empty grocery bags to like be cushion. It looked super bad and ghetto, but more than that, it took so much time because it's like, all right, well, we're using a different box size each time based on whatever Amazon packages we have in stock here. It was just stupid. We didn't do it that long. We just said, no, we are too professional for this. Now we have our own stuff. It's so much easier. Speaking of easier, there was a time that we actually ran our packages every day to UPS and to USPS. And by UPS, I mean CVS because they had a UPS drop-off site. And it was like, okay, well, we only have a couple packages, and Anna would take our kid, she'd put her in the wagon with the packages and walk into CVS. They probably thought we had some kind of a drug ring going, but eventually our toy ring got too big for us to be doing that. UPS Monday through Friday, USPS every day except Sunday. So that works out a lot easier, my goodness, because we end up having, on some days, each one of them can be picking up anywhere between 50 and 120 packages, especially on a Monday when we have a bunch of weekend orders going out. My fifth mistake was underestimating size, and this is kind of an embarrassment to have screwed up, but it was a vast underestimation. We're currently on what I like to call layout 4.0, with 5.0 needs to come here eventually. Like, it's kind of funny to think that 1.0 I had one shelf, and I thought that that was going to cut it in some way. I look back on that person now, I'm like, oh, look at you. Then I moved to 3 shelves. I'm like, well, this should last us a few years. Finally, I went to doing that entire area over there, and I'm like, well, that's it. We'll never outgrow this. Then we had the flood, and I'm like, all right, 4.0, might as well make this into like the best layout ever, and that's out of space. How long's 5.0 gonna last? Who even knows? Speaking of our flood, mistake number 6 is what I like to call lack of disaster planning. When we had our flood last May, we didn't have our business insurance set up yet. Yeah, that sucked. We also didn't have enough monitoring set up for an emergency like a flood. We're working out of a basement. I should have had more of an alarm system set up. Now, don't get me wrong, I had water alarms along the perimeter and I had one on the floor. But one on the floor wasn't enough because someone moved that one. Thanks, water heater repairman. And with that, we didn't get the alert. Now we're up to 15 different alarms all throughout the basement, along the perimeter, along the walls. They're everywhere. We're gonna have a major early warning system. We have a good code red plan now. If we hear water in the basement at all, we immediately start moving the toys up the shelves, which thankfully this hasn't happened again because I also replaced the sub pump with 2 sub pumps and Wi-Fi systems, and it does a self-test every 24 hours and it's continuously monitored. Yeah, I went a little bit nuts. Even the water alarms are continuously monitored now. If one of these alarms gets a drop of water, I get a phone call within 10 seconds from SimpliSafe. It's pretty sweet. Mistake number 7 was our bookkeeping. And by our bookkeeping, I mean my bookkeeping, because I had that stuff jacked up. This is gonna shock people who work with me in the restaurants where I was a pretty darn good Excel guy and I really was the guy who like analyzed the profit and loss statement like a crazy person. Yeah, it's a lot harder to manage toys than food, it turns out. Food's pretty simple. You get it, you keep it, you sell it, done. You don't really hold on to anything that long because it's all got a shelf life. Toys, completely different. You're buying inventory with the plan to hold it for potentially a long time. Also in restaurants, there's no pre-orders, and that's a lot harder than it seems because think about it. If someone's ordering something now, they're paying for it now, but it's coming out in spring, when do you track it as being sold for sales? What about profit? But you're not paying for it till later. It becomes a pain in the butt. I started off using my personal CPA, and I thought that just because they charged me a ton, they'd be good at it, and it wasn't really great. Then I moved to a internet specialist that was literally just money burned. Thanks, ledger gurus. I was able to get the brother of a friend who was a CPA, fix everything, and he discovered, oh, look at that, you owe a lot of money for 2022 when he did my return, so that was fun. If this is not your first time watching one of the videos here on Nerdzoic and you happen to not be subscribed and you're still watching this, what are you doing? The universe is trying to tell you something. Subscribe. And remember, you gotta get old, but you don't have to grow up. Just be cool and stay nerdy. Later.